Ladies, have you had experiences when you've been just doing your own thing in the gym? You probably know exactly what you're doing. You're not looking for or asking for any chap's opinion, and they just cannot help themselves but put their tuppence in and interfere in your workout at the gym. Have you experienced that? I would really, really like to know. And frankly, because we forget that is one of the major factors why women hate going to the gym, and also that's one of the major factors why they love our women's only fitness classes, basically, because there is absolutely no reason for men to assume that they know more than women. Women are not going around waiting for a knight in shining armour at the gym to correct their form or tell them what they're doing wrong. And yeah, it's time we just started calling this out, women. Let's call these chaps out. Oh, I actually asked him. So there had been another quite muscly chap in this fitness class. If he had gotten the scales, this muscly chap that had come out of the same class, and this guy had happened to see him, would he have gone up to this chap, this really muscle-bound guy, and said, first of all, assumed that was why he was actually weighing himself? He wouldn't have been arrogant enough to do that in the first place. And would he have gone up to this muscly guy on the scales and said, "Ooh, all you're measuring is water loss"? Hell no, of course he wouldn't. Yeah, it's just something I think we need to start calling out in gyms, ladies. And this is why so many women feel alienated from that environment. I'd like to know your experiences of whether you've ever come across that, guys. Let's have a look and see whether I can see any of your comments. If you're just joining us, guys, we're talking about the general subject of why women hate going to the gym, okay? As opposed to, for example, a petite women's only studio such as our own. And so this was inspired by a kind of fit of pique of just a gross example of mansplaining that I've just experienced in a gym, in a class I've just attended in a leisure centre. Men patronising women. It's just time it stops. It's time it stopped. I just want to know whether you've had similar experiences of that, guys. I mean, there's various reasons why women are put off gyms, but that's got to be a major one, right? Hi, Joyce. Joyce is watching. Okay, so I can see people coming through now, which is great. So, Joyce, I don't know how much you may have... Joyce is one of our members, our fitness and wellbeing members, by the way. I don't know whether you used to go to gyms in the past, Joyce, and what your experiences were there, and what kind of the reasons you don't go anymore, perhaps. Whether have you ever come across this mansplaining in gyms, or just blokes just making smart comments? They just can't help themselves. They automatically assume, like the experience I've just had. Number one, they automatically assume they know more than you. They automatically assume you don't know, A, what you're doing and why you're doing it. Now, of course, we don't want to tar all blokes with the same brush. All blokes are not like this, of course. But there's at least a serious minority of blokes who do this sort of thing. The mansplaining in gym phenomenon, guys. And I'd like to know whether you've experienced it yourself. Not just that, you may not have experienced that, and that's good. But if you've got any other sort of issues with the gym environment, why are you put off by the gym environment, for example? What other aspects of the gym environment you find alienating as a woman? Let us know. Let's have a conversation. So we got Joyce. I'll just give other people. Just let me know, guys, if you're watching and you've got any comments on this. So yeah, excuse my sweaty mess. I practice what I preach. One of our latest little sayings in the JB Fitness and Wellbeing Tribe is this little acronym BROSS. So so basically, we're encouraging our clients in the higher intensity classes to make sure they're breathing heavily, that they get red-faced. This is kind of quite red-faced. I think that ticks that box. To push themselves out of their comfort zone a bit, because that's really key to getting results. And yeah, to be sweaty. So apologies, ladies. I'm a bit sweaty after the class, but practicing what I preach. We've got another comment coming through here. And someone saying, I think that might be Jules, saying she remembers an ex-client who was small in height and needed advice with free weights. Let's see if I can just see the detail of that one. That's just been truncated, the end of that message, so I can't see the whole of that. Yes, if it's the example that I'm thinking of, I'll just try to refresh the screen here so I can see the full comment. If it's the example that I'm thinking of, I think that was probably a really common example is when women or men, sometimes even male PTs, will automatically assume that a woman isn't capable of lifting any significant weight at all, and will just automatically give them a really low weight, which is to the extent of it being pretty patronising. There we go, got the full comment up now. So well said, full comment now. Well said. I remember an ex-client who was small in height and needed advice with some free weights. A male PT said to her, maybe you should start on the machines, assuming she was weak and not strong enough to lift man weights. Oh my, OMG. And yeah, that comment just finishes off, I can't write what she told him with 4 exclamation marks. So I assume there may have been some quite forthright comments involved in that. Unbelievable. So there you go. So that's basically someone even calling them man weights. So proper free weights in a gym. Sometimes you get these setups in gym where you might be familiar with this, where you've got basically all the big heavy black free weights, right, in the massive free weights racks. And then you've got like a separate rack of, sometimes they're silver or chrome dumbbells, and it goes up to a maximum of 10 or whatever. There's almost an unwritten rule in some gyms. It seems that they're kind of like the women's weights, like 1 kilogram to 10 kilogram max, and that the proper weights, the black ones, the bulkier ones, are like the man's weights. I always remember the time in my life when I did the most sort of strength and conditioning work was when I was actually doing weight training for Scotland, when I played rugby for Scotland. And you would you would go into the free weight section of gyms, and they're often quite busy at peak time, and there'd be maybe 7 guys there, huffing and puffing, doing their thing, clanging the weights down. And you almost felt as a woman going into the free section weights of a gym, like you'd just gone through the sort of swinging doors of a Western film saloon, and like you could hear a penny drop and all the heads just turned. And I mean, that experience as well, you need to be confident to go into when it's just full of men, all puffing their chest out like peacocks. You need to be confident to go into the free weights. So straight away, well, there you go, Joyce. Thank you very much, Joyce, for your comment. Joyce is basically saying, I've not had men comment at the gym, but I do feel intimidated and very self-conscious. Yeah, absolutely. And you're saying you don't feel confident when you don't know what I'm doing with the equipment. Absolutely. But it is really intimidating when those men are effectively feel like it's their area in the gym. Some women know what they're doing. Some men know what they're doing. Some women don't know what they're doing necessarily as well as others. Some, it's just as likely that a man doesn't know what he's doing. And it's just that automatic assumption that just because you're a woman you won't know what you're doing is really getting my goat, because something happened today which really reminded me of one of the reasons that women don't like going to gyms. Being mansplained at a gym. It's not good, it's not good. Katie is watching. Hi Katie, hope you're having a good day. Be really interesting. Actually Katie, I don't know how much experience you've had of going to gyms in the past. I'd be really interested to hear whether, you know, the extent to which you found gyms maybe off-putting for whatever reason, why you're not attracted to going to gyms regularly these days, whether you've ever actually experienced the phenomenon of mansplaining in a gym, basically being patronised by blokes, them automatically assuming that you don't know what you're doing, that you're not strong enough to lift any significant weight, etc. Yeah, and you know, it's bad enough like normal men doing it, but a male PT doing it to someone just got my goat. Just thought it was time to call it out, guys. Sorry, I'm a bit of a sweaty mess. I've just basically done the class that I had this experience at, so I thought I'd do a Facebook Live straight away, inspired by that. So I'm still broth. I'm still, well, I'm not quite. Got my breathing back now, but I'm still a bit red faced. I was out of my comfort zone, of course. So I was a bit sweaty. So sorry about the appearances, guys. But yeah, so today we're talking about generally the gym environment. I've titled it Why Women Hate Going to the Gym, and that's kind of deliberately provocative, right? So of course not all women hate going to the gym, but we know lots do. Yeah, that's why we created our petite fitness studio just for women, because we know that there's lots of reasons why women hate going to the gym. I've just experienced one of them about 30 minutes ago, and I've explained that in this Facebook Live already. And now I'm interested in what you guys have experienced, yeah? I want you to tell me the good, the bad and ugly about going to the gym, what you maybe like, what you don't like, what puts you off going to the gym, ladies. I see Jess is watching. Hi Jess. Great that you're tuning in. Jess, I'm sure you've had quite a lot of experience of going to gyms in your time. So yeah, I'd be really interested in your view actually. Both, so this isn't positive and negative, you know, either way. What's good about gyms? What's not so good about gyms? What puts you off going to a gym? You know, if you don't exercise regularly, or if you don't attend a gym regularly, you know, why not? Why not? You know, arguably, it's the cheapest way of, other than maybe running or cycling, arguably going to a gym is one of the cheapest ways of working out. So why don't more women do it? Yeah, the very fact that so few women just use the general gym area, for example, you know, clearly something's not right. Clearly, there's some reasons why women just are not motivated by that environment, or somehow alienated by that environment. So we're in this Facebook Live, we're trying to get to the bottom of that. Okay, so we've got a fairly strong inkling as the reason. Like I say, I've just experienced one of the reasons. I want to know your views. Yeah, real women's real views and experiences of going to gyms. Yeah, good, bad and ugly. Got a comment here from Katie. Many thanks, Katie. Okay, this is interesting, so I'm just going to expand it so I can see the full comment now. Katie's saying, I've been a member of several gyms and never enjoyed going really. Okay, there you go. Again, felt uncomfortable and self-conscious. Oh, bless you, Katie, but she finishes, but love coming to your classes, as I've never felt that. Well, that's very sweet of you to say, Katie, and you know, that's really why, one of the reasons we created what we've created is because so many women do share your view, you know, that you really just don't feel comfortable, and you do feel self-conscious in these gym environments. And you know, a lot of that is the gender bias. It is that they're dominated by blokes, and if these blokes just respected women as much as they respect the fellow men that are going there, then maybe that wouldn't be an issue. But it's clearly not the case. Because, like I say, just come back half an hour ago, did a class in the gym, just quickly went away myself. And some chap immediately pounced on me and started trying to patronise me and mansplain the fact that any weight. Well, basically, he assumed that I had just weighed myself before the class. He must have assumed that, first of all, and that I was weighing myself afterwards. And so he very masterfully and expertly said, "Oh, you're just measuring water loss." Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that. As if I would be doing that. Yeah. So, yeah, he didn't say that to any of the blokes that were there for some reason. I didn't see him actually trying to correct any of the blokes' forms. Yeah, so we need to call out these guys at the gym. Yeah? Or, you know, basically just find alternatives. So if a woman cannot go to a gym and just do her own thing without her, so that was basically a form of harassment, right? I was doing my own thing. I didn't want his opinion. I didn't need his opinion. He said he was a personal trainer, so what? I'm a personal trainer. So basically, have you ever been effectively harassed? There's different forms, so that's interesting. So there's different forms of harassment in gyms, essentially, aren't there? There's quite a scale, different categories. So that was the sort of mansplaining, sort of patronising sort of category. So that was just men not helping themselves, thinking they know best and patronising women. But there's far worse forms of intimidation in gyms, and that concerns, so my appearance wasn't really an issue there. But if I'd have been self-conscious about my appearance in the first place, it would have been so much worse. Like, imagine if I'd been doing that, just weighing myself, and I was self-conscious about my weight in the first place, and then he'd done that. Yeah? It's just not on. It is intimidating. And yeah. So have you ever been leered at in a gym? That's another good question. Yeah. How have you been made to feel uncomfortable? So we've had several comments already. Hi Nikki, good of you to join us. Hi Liz, hope you guys are having a good day. If you've just tuned in, so basically it's a little bit of a rant, in fairness. I'm kind of having a wee bit of a rant, ladies, because I've just been mansplained at the gym, which is bad enough for any woman who knows what she's doing, but it's gets your goat a bit when you're a personal trainer, an ex-international rugby player, and an Iron woman. When a chap tries to patronise you at the gym, it does get your goat a wee bit. So I'm just really interested to know, so what are other people's experiences of going to the gym as women? We've had various comments saying that a lot of our members of the JB Fitness and Wellbeing Tribe who have, basically felt alienated at gyms. Often it's because they feel self-conscious, they just feel uncomfortable. I'd love to get a bit more detail about that, ladies. Do you feel like you're being stared at maybe in gyms by blokes? Is it blokes? It might not be just the presence of blokes and the inappropriate behaviour of blokes. It might be something else. Yeah. I want to keep an open mind. I want the good, the bad, and the ugly, guys, of your experiences of gyms. Hi, Fran. Lovely to see you. Hope you're doing well. So Fran, you must have been at loads of gyms in your time. I'd be interested to know your experiences, if you've had any negative experiences of gyms that have made you less keen on going regularly. Now, Fran might be a special case because, like myself, she's probably more than capable of, kind of calling these guys out at the time. So as an ex-rugby playing colleague of mine, I think Fran can probably hold her own in those sort of situations quite comfortably. but doesn't mean we should have to, okay? So I put this guy in his place today, but why should I have to? Yeah? Why should I have to go to the gym in the first place and just worry about that happening? So like I say, the reason I kind of didn't let it lie, just didn't ignore it this time, which I have done in the past, is because I'm pretty sure it was the same chap and it was almost exactly the same circumstance. Is that guy had made some smart comment before and I just ignored it, but because I was pretty sure it was the same guy, I thought, no, come on, no, I'm not going to have this every time I come to the blooming gym. You got to start calling this stuff out. Catherine, lovely to see you, Catherine, hope you're well. We're talking about reasons why women hate going to the gym. Not all women hate going to the gym, of course they don't. But there's clearly some barriers there, yeah? Why are, I mean, the stats don't lie, right? Yeah, hardly any women go to gyms compared to men, okay? So clearly something's not working for them. So we're basically just having this Facebook Live discussion now to talk through people's experiences of why they don't like going to gyms. But, if you've got good things to say as well, let's have a sort of balanced discussion, of course. Liz, comment from Liz. Thanks very much, Liz. I've never been to a gym for all of those reasons. Blimey. Okay, so this next sentence, that's quite strong language. The thought of it makes me shiver. You see, that I mean, the very fact that you feel that strongly, Liz, actually makes me really, really angry. The thought of it makes me shiver. So that's not just being slightly put off by something. That's a serious emotional reaction to just the thought of doing something. That means that, you've clearly had really negative experiences of going in the past. And I'm guessing that, you share similar reasons to those that have been explained, feeling self-conscious, intimidated. It's just not right, is it? Because this is a serious issue. Being able to exercise, this isn't just about looking better. This is about your health and well-being. Not just physical well-being, mental well-being. Why should women feel like that? Liz is saying, oh, thanks, Liz, another comment. But that's what makes the JB classes so great. So that's fantastic to hear that, Liz. That you found an alternative to those negative gym environments, and you're doing amazingly well in our classes. You're excelling, just like last night at circuits. You were zooming up and down that hall. Absolutely awesome effort as always. And I mean, it's kind of a. Whilst I'm really, really, delighted at everyone who's. Found our tribe, our JB tribe, as an alternative to going to the gym. It still makes me angry that there's obviously a positive reason for you coming to the JB tribe, but it still makes me angry that you felt that it wasn't even an option going to the gym. Yeah. Bonnie's watching. Hi, Bonnie. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good day. As you just joined us, we were talking about why women don't go to the gym. I'd be really interested to know whether you've ever gone to the gym regularly, Bonnie, whether you've had good experiences, whether you ever had any bad experiences. We're just having an interactive chat here on this Facebook Live. Good, bad and ugly of going to the gym. What do you like? What puts you off? Liz has sent another comment here. Nikki and I were with you at Run Club a few weeks back, and some big burly men ran past us and congratulated us on running. So patronising. Okay, right. Yeah. So obviously it was the tone of the voice that they said it, right? Yeah, they weren't like, oh, well done, ladies, or whatever. Or, well, I guess the very fact would, if it had just been a group of blokes running past them, would they have said it to a group of blokes? Probably not. And it was obviously their tone of voice. Is that right, Liz? Maybe you could clarify. So they were like, because congratulated us on running. Yeah, it was clearly the way they said it was really patronising. But maybe you can confirm that, Liz. It actually brings me, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent because this is meant to be about the gym, but it could be broadened to why women hate exercising generally, and maybe it's appropriate to do that because your comment, Liz, has just made me, okay, yeah, Liz is confirming tone of voice was really patronising. That's bad enough, but that comment reminds me of an experience which is just far more, even more damaging. As a PT through the years, been PTing for the best part of a decade now, and as a running coach, coaching several people to run marathons, for example, going out and training runs with them. Some of these women were on not just a sort of a journey to do a marathon, they were on a significant weight loss journey. And several of these women, had several stones to lose as part of that journey, and were using running as a tool to help them lose the weight. If I had £1 for every time out running with an overweight client, I have had a comment, not just a patronising comment, but a hateful comment. Yeah, I think I'm just checking my memory. Yeah, they've all been from men. None of them have been from women. So here is someone who's been brave enough to acknowledge that they're overweight and brave enough to start a process of not just losing that weight, but also putting themselves out there on the public streets to train for a run, to train for a marathon. The courage that takes in the first place to get even that far. And they're passed in the street by some chap who says something not just patronising but hateful against what they're doing. You know, basically he's calling them fatty or whatever. Oh, you're too fat to run or whatever. I mean, it just makes me so angry. So I obviously was there to support them. Just, obviously brushed it off. They're not worth listening to. Ignore them, whatever. But yeah, okay, so we're meant to be talking about why women hate going to the gym, but that's a fantastic example of why some women just hate exercising generally, because to be slagged off for trying to better yourself. I mean, those people that are actually doing the slagging off, are they bettering themselves? Yeah, what positive things have they done in their day, Who knows? But yeah, it's just another barrier to people trying to get fit and healthy. It's awful. Sorry, on that rant, that tangent rant sparked by Liz's comment, many thanks, Liz. I think there's been several coming through. So let's just go back to some of them. Joyce. Joyce is saying, let me just expand that. I went to the gym for 2 years before coming to JB and didn't see any results because I didn't enjoy it. Whereas now I have found a love of exercise and encouragement from everyone. So that's many thanks for your comment, Joyce. That's lovely to hear. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that hits the nail on the head. If you don't enjoy going where you go to exercise, if you don't enjoy that environment, you're just not going to be consistent, are you? You're not going to want to go back. And it's just wonderful that you've now found, rediscovered your love of exercise, and the encouragement, obviously, of the JB tribe has, been a major factor in that. And that's just, that's why we do what we do at the end of the day. That's absolutely fantastic. Next comment's from Katie. Let's just see. I'll expand this out. Many thanks for all the comments, guys. I'm loving the fact that this is properly interactive now. Let's just expand that. Okay, so Katie's saying, I'd say it's more than I felt self-conscious. I'd say it's more that I felt self-conscious due to my size, and had people, men and women to be fair, laugh or get annoyed at me in the gym due to my lack of ability. So if I was using a piece of equipment they wanted to use, I'd have them getting huffy as I was using it, and they seemed to think that as they were fitter or stronger than me, they had more right to use it. I also had a time where some women laughed at me on the treadmill because I tried to run and struggled to do more than a minute at a time. So I've never heard the that specific experience, Katie. But that's what's brilliant about this comment, is that it's drilling down into some real examples, some specific examples of the sort of behaviour that puts people off going to the gym. So that's, I mean, I can identify with the piece of equipment thing. So that's, going back to sort of my time when I spent most of the time in the gym when I was training for Scotland and basically working on my strength. Yeah. So basically you'd go in, and if you were using sort of weights that some of the chaps wanted to use, you would kind of feel the eyes on you a little bit, which is kind of hilarious, because a lot of blokes and a lot of people in gyms, there's another rant about gyms. Have you ever been in a gym and someone thinks they own it, and basically they've set themselves up a little circuit, right? So they're doing a little circuit, so they've got maybe 3 different pieces of equipment and they're going around them, and they think they can basically just hog them the whole time, and you've got to wait not only till they've finished that bit of equipment, but finish their whole circuit before you can get it. Who do they think they are? They don't own the place. And that's like Katie says, it's like they have not paid any more than you to be there. You have every right to use that equipment. You know, how relatively strong you are to that next person is completely irrelevant. And it's completely out of order. But clearly people in gyms are, if that's a common experience, and you know, the people in the gym are not rectifying that situation, then shame on them for not picking up on that, and you know, just reminding people that, you know, no one's got their individual name stamped on any bit of equipment. So there's 2 bits to your comment. Yes, the second bit's almost worse, isn't it, Katie? And this is very similar to my experience that I was just explaining about when I was out with personal training clients running, and the hateful comments that were directed at some of my overweight clients that were running. It's similar, isn't it? Although I think in your case, Katie, it's worse, because we were just running past people and leaving them behind. It was easier to sort of dismiss it in our mind, well, relatively easier to dismiss it. You're in the gym. They're still there. You're still there. And again, you know, other people must have witnessed that. Must have witnessed that. I mean, they say that, you know, if you witness something not right and you do nothing about it, you're as bad as the perpetrator. I think that's a good example, because there's so many people could have called that out, yeah? So the other people must have heard that, and they didn't call it out, did they? And sure as hell the staff obviously didn't call it out. You know, they should have been disciplined in some way, that member. That's absolutely disgraceful, being laughed at like that. But it's a really powerful example, Katie. I'm really glad you're had the honesty to share that, because it's really important we have these discussions. I don't know whether gyms are just pulling the wool over their own eyes, the people you know, in charge, or what's going on, but it's serious. This is about people's health. This is about you know, both physical and mental health, yeah? And if women are being alienated for gyms, it's not a laughing matter, yeah? Something has to be done, you know? You know, it's awesome that many people have found that our environment is one that they feel a lot more comfortable in. You know, I think the women's only sort of status obviously has a part in that, but you know, there's a limit to how many women we can help in our one studio, and it's just not right. The gyms have to sort this out. They have to acknowledge first of all, and address this problem. Who have we got? We've got Bonnie. Oh, brilliant! Thanks very much for commenting, Bonnie. Bonnie's saying that belonged to several gyms, but no one showed me how to stretch. Now this is interesting. No one showed me how to stretch. So JB is so strong in it. I'm sure I've grown taller in the last 3 years. Oh, bless you, Bonnie. Many thanks for that comment. That's an interesting one. That's a slightly different topic, actually. Well, if you have grown in the last 3 years, you're even more of a demon on the netball pitch, Bonnie. Bonnie is one of our stellar netball players. We do occasionally every quarter we do an outdoor park fit session in Lydia Park. We have a little fun netball game at the end. And Bonnie leaps out of nowhere like a gazelle to intercept the netball passes. So yeah, that's wonderful stuff, Bonnie. So that's an interesting point. So how to stretch. So yeah, I mean, one of the other things we have noticed in, so this is less about gym specifically, but other fitness classes, is you go in sometimes, and I think this has got worse recently with some of the budget gyms, the classes that they run there. You can tell a lot of the instructors aren't very experienced. We'll just say that. And you go in, and the warm up, and I'm sorry, I have to do the old inverted commas sign there, is like burpees and tuck jumps. Like, it's the first two things you do as part of the warm up. Burpees as a warm up, full on burpees or full on tuck jumps as a warm up. I'm talking as the very first thing, yeah. We might do walking burpees, towards the end of our warm up. I'm talking the very first thing they do is that. No joint mobilization, no gradual getting up the heart rate, nothing. So, this is a mobilization exercise. This is a mobilization exercise. Bit of this maybe. Yeah, no, tuck jumps straight in some classes, which is shocking. And, you can get away with it when you're 20. You can't get away with it as much as we think age is but a number. It is more important that you warm up properly as you age, and it's more important that you stretch. And every single class we do, we make sure there's a thorough stretch at the end of it. And unfortunately, well, Bonnie's just said it. You've just said it, Bonnie. Stretching was just not emphasised at all in the gym environment. Gyms are different, but the one that Bonnie went to, stretching was just not a thing. And everyone knows, like, we try to basically emphasise this as much as possible. Both for performance enhancement and majorly for injury prevention, guys. It's so important to stretch. So that's clearly one reason that Bonnie didn't have a positive experience in her gym. Many thanks for that comment, Bonnie. Keep the comments coming, ladies. There's been loads of interaction, which is wonderful this lunchtime. It's 2:00. It's not even lunchtime anymore. Sam's watching. Hi, Sam. Hope you're doing well. Please send us any comments you have. Brett is watching now. Lovely that you've tuned in, Brett, as is Caroline. Clearly it's a slow day at work, ladies. I love it. Okay, so guys, today we are discussing why women hate going to the gym. So that's a deliberately provocative title. Obviously not all women do hate going to the gym, but it was... And we're basically wanting to have a full, no holds barred, good, bad and ugly of your experiences of going to the gym in the past, ladies. And this was inspired by, and the reason I'm still a sweaty mess, is I came straight back from a class that I went to myself and started this Facebook Live straight away because I was inspired, because I've just experienced a really, really bad example of mansplaining in the gym, essentially. Yeah. A bloke completely uninvited, in a manner that almost felt like harassment, just coming up to me, trying to patronise me about the fact that I was on the scales and I was only measuring weight loss or whatever. Like, he even knew why I was weighing myself. I was only measuring water loss or whatever. Yeah, and apparently he would have done it to a chap. If that had been a chap, he would have done it to them as well. Why can't women just go into the gym and do their own thing, not be harassed, not be patronised, not be laughed at? Yeah, so being harassed and patronised are bad enough. Being laughed at. Being intimidated to the extent, like Katie said, that you don't even feel like you've got the right to use the equipment because you're not as sort of fit or experienced as the next person. What the hell gives them the right to think that they've got more... they're further up the queue and that for the use of that equipment than anyone else. If anything, it's the people who are less fit that will benefit more from the use of that equipment. It's completely the wrong way around, and it's just disgraceful. Not only the people, there's three people. So the person that that's actually displaying that intimidating behaviour, whoever's laughing at you, the people that saw that and didn't do anything, and most of all, the actual management of that establishment, they let that sort of thing go on undeterred in, you know, under their watches, is just disgusting. And this is why women don't go to the gym, and this is why women aren't looking after their health and fitness, guys. And this is why we created our studio, is because there's too much of this happening, and it's just time we started calling it out. And that's why I'm doing this, because, you know, I ignored that guy. He was the same guy that had patronised me once before, and I just ignored him. I thought, no, enough is enough now. You know, it's not just me that's at the receiving end of that, it's women the length and breadth of this country, and we've got to start calling this stuff out. We've got a couple more comments here. I think this is maybe Jules. Boy, how many classes have we been to with male instructors who start the warm-ups with burpees and star jumps? Tell me which professional. Yeah, so yeah, basically it's not just, it's more and more common these days that there's classes in gyms, especially some of the new budget gyms, where, you know, whether they just don't think it's cool doing mobility exercises, whether they don't think it's cool just gradually getting the body ready, because warm-ups aren't just about physical, you know, joint mobilization. You know, we're getting synovial fluid sort of going in the joints. We're gradually raising the heart rate. You know, there's lots of important physiological reasons to do warm-ups, right? But it's also psychological. Like, mentally, you're not prepared to do tuck jumps 2 minutes after just going into class. It's ridiculous. But yeah, more and more budget gyms that open, more and more classes seem to be, you know, that seems to be experienced. So thanks for your comment there. Katie, thanks for another comment, Katie. Okay, so Katie's mentioning a particular gym. I think that she had that experience. I'm not gonna name the gym, because this is not about bad mouthing specific gyms. I guess it'd be unfair, especially as it was certain, you know, some time ago. You know, it may have been rectified by then in a particular gym, but it's principles I want to talk about here, basically. Yeah. But anyway, it was Katie saying her experience was a few years ago, before she had children. Right, okay, and there were never any staff around. And, you know, it's that's the other thing, you know, just the lack of staff, you know, whether or not, you know, to I mean, the fitness classes we run are fairly minimal in equipment, but the heavier equipment you use, the more important, obviously, good technique is to prevent injury. Because you can do yourself quite a lot of damage if you have bad technique. And you can't rely on just watching people near you for that, obviously, as well. You know, and because often the guys that think they're great are actually have awful technique themselves, right? They might be doing bicep curls, but they'll be doing this with their elbows. They're actually using their shoulders instead. So yeah, the fact that there weren't any staff around at all to help you, Katie, that's not a good experience at all. You're going on to say, to talk about ourselves and how supportive our community is. And we really appreciate those positive comments, Katie. So many thanks for getting involved in the discussion this morning. Brett has sent a comment in. Many thanks, Brett. Thanks for getting involved in this chat today. Brett saying she was intimidated by the machines and having no idea how to use them, and by the condescension, stroke impatience, stroke out and out rudeness from instructors and other gym users upon whom I depended to learn. And then there was, Brett goes on to say, and then there was the blatant meanness I witnessed to another woman there. Just no way. Why on earth would I voluntarily subject myself to that crap? Wow. So this was, I mean, I started this Facebook Live today basically just out of, if I'm honest, just have a bit of a rant because of what I experienced earlier. But also out of kind of a bit of curiosity. So basically because it reminded me of one of the reasons that the negative reasons why women don't like going to the gym. And I was just really curious because I know that a lot of you guys don't like going to the gym, and I just wanted to delve a bit deeper to the underlying reasons for that. And Brett's, I mean, yeah, so Brett says that she's been patronised, so she's had condescending comments, a lack of patience, and rudeness from instructors. So, you know, it's bad enough, you know, getting that from other gym users, but from instructors, that's even worse. And then Brett refers to meanness to another woman. I'd be interested in learning the nature of that meanness, Brett, that you don't elaborate on that, but if you were able to elaborate on that, that would be very interesting. But yeah, why on earth would I voluntarily subject myself to that crap? Yeah, well, why on earth, yeah, just like earlier, why on earth couldn't I just get on the scales without some smart ass comment from this guy, you know? You know, it's bad enough for me, it's, you know, it's annoying. It would be even worse if it was someone who, you know, was self-conscious about how they looked or what they weighed, you know? It's just out of order. Lynn's watching. Hi, Lynn. Really cool that you could tune in. As is Amanda. Lovely to have you on our Facebook Live today, Amanda. Yeah, experiences at the gym. That's what we're chatting about. The deliberately provocative headline is why women hate going to the gym. I know a lot of you do. Yeah, so I'm trying to dig under the reasons why. You know, a little bit more detail. What negative experiences have you had? You may have had some good experiences. You can, you know, feel free to share those too. We want this to be balanced. But, you know, the statistics don't lie. You know, for every one woman you see on the gym floor, there's, you know, I don't know, 7 men. Is that about fair? That would be interesting. That would actually be interesting in itself. Yeah, what do you think the ratio is in the gym floor on average these days? Specifically as well in the weight section, so cardio, is there almost an unwritten rule in your gym, or have you ever sensed that, or in gyms that you've been to in the past, that the cardio area is where, you know, the women are allowed and the proper weights area is like men only? Don't know. I certainly have got that vibe in some gyms. I'd be really interested if you have that too. Yeah, okay, so we've got a comment from Amanda. Many thanks for your comment, Amanda. So Amanda's saying she does go to the gym occasionally, but she doesn't push herself as much as she does in a class environment. So that's another really interesting sort of side to it that we've not really touched upon yet in this discussion. Yeah, so even if you do know what you're doing, and Amanda certainly does, she's had personal training with JB in the past, there's one thing going and knowing what you're doing, and even if you don't get harassed or patronised or whatever, there's still the fact that when you're on your own, maybe you don't have that added incentive to push yourself. It's kind of human nature, I guess. And that's the great thing about training with others. It's the, you know, having that supportive environment, but also, you know, you want to have that feeling that you're doing the best you can. You want others to know that. Amanda, I've just invented an acronym you'll probably be amused by, called Be More Bros. So we're encouraging, so it's just like a checklist. By the end of a class, we want people to be breathing heavily, to be more red-faced. I'm still a little red in the face from the class I did. To really push themselves out of their comfort zone, and, you know, to be really sweaty by the end of it. You know, you've worked hard if you've got a sweat on, right? And yeah, so I guess it's the O in that you're referring to. It's being brave enough, but also motivated enough to actually put yourself out of your comfort zone during your workout. And yeah, I think we are naturally, sometimes for competitive reasons, but sometimes just, you know, it feels in a group environment we do push ourselves more. It's human nature, isn't it? So yeah, maybe that's another problem going to the gym, is that you're more inclined to kind of, well, use the word poodle. You know, like you go on the cardio machine, you just poodle a bit and don't really push yourselves, and you know, if you're investing that time in actually going to work out in the first place, you want to get results, right? And if you do just go and poodle, and especially if you're sat down, right, in any of the cardio machines that you're actually literally sat down, you've been sat down all day, you know, so just going and sitting down in a bike machine, or just sitting down in a reclined bike and just poodling, you're not going to get the results, are you? Another comment from Amanda, and Amanda's saying, and I never understand why they have a man's area for weights and a separate one for women. Okay, so this is interesting. So sometimes that's almost implied, but Amanda, I'd be really interested to know whether you know of a real example where it's explicit. It's not just implied, it's explicit. Where it's almost like there's a sign, this area is for men, this area is for women. That would be really interesting to know whether it was actually, like that, and whether or not, I bet they didn't have the same weights in the women's area, put it that way. I bet it was just those little chrome dumbbells and there wasn't anything bigger than 10k. Amanda's watching. Hi Amanda, good to see you. We're talking all about experiences of going to the gym. Have you been patronised by men at the gym? Have you been laughed at? Have you felt intimidated? Or have you simply, not felt like it was the right environment to really push yourself? All these are experiences that we've had, and comments for the people that have been involved in this Facebook Live so far. And it's time this all has to change, guys. Yes, we've got an amazing women's only fitness studio in Royalwood and Bassett, and a lot of you guys are thriving in that environment, but we're just one studio in one wee town outside Swindon, right? Things have got to change in gyms up and down the country. Yeah, women are being turned off by that environment, and it's not good enough. Yeah, we've got an obesity epidemic, we've got a diabetes epidemic, and the NHS is at breaking point. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy that gyms are environments that, let's get Brett's comment back. If women are thinking, why on earth would I voluntarily subject myself to that crap, meaning the sort of crap they get into gyms, or if women are thinking, and I'm going to just quote an earlier comment we had on this live from Liz, if women are thinking, I've never been to gym for all those reasons, the thought of it makes me shiver, something seriously wrong, isn't it? Yeah, and however many studios we were to open, for example, the gym is still the #1 place where people work out indoors. Yeah, it's got to change. These places have got to change. We've got to start calling out the problems, ladies, and forcing the powers that be to fix it. Okay, I'm just catching up with the latest comments coming in, guys. Joyce is saying, I totally agree with Amanda. I think you might mean Amanda, Joyce. So Joyce is saying, I totally agree with Amanda. I didn't push myself when I went on my own either. A little sort of embarrassed face emoji there. Okay, so Joyce, that's resonating with Joyce then, what you said, Amanda. So even if you do know what you're doing in a gym, just the fact that you're there on your own, kind of just not really sort of pushing yourself. Obviously, the results you get are going to be limited as a result. So thanks for that comment, Joyce. Brett saying, you asked me to elaborate. Yes, I did. And many thanks for getting back then, Brett. Okay. Yeah. So Brett saying, I witnessed a woman being fat shamed. This was in 1993. Okay, so we can read this out because this is somewhere in Canada, so we're not in the business of slagging off individual establishments, guys. But it's on a different continent, I think. We can just say it was at the University of Toronto. A woman who should have been celebrated, supported, and admired was shamed by a man who thought he had the right to do that. I was shocked, horrified, and disgusted. Of course I got involved. Good for you, Brett. Good for you. Yeah, so you actually got involved. You actually called it out. Fantastic. Yeah, because lots of people wouldn't. Of course I got involved. The situation got even uglier. She and I left, both of us, in tears. We went to a coffee shop and commiserated. It hadn't been her first negative experience. I have no idea how she got herself back for more. An amazingly courageous and determined woman. Brett's saying, I never went back to a gym. As soon as I could afford it, I started working with a PT, that's a personal trainer. And then I found JB, which was and is honestly one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Okay, so that's extremely flattering, and that means a lot, Brett. That we've given you that alternative environment and positive and supportive environment that you can actually exercise without any of that hassle. But what an absolutely horrendous experience that woman had. So she was, she'd had the guts, first of all, to acknowledge that she had to sort of address the fact that she was overweight. She had the guts to actually rock up at that gym. She was putting in the effort of actually working out at that gym, minding her own business. I'm not sure exactly what this chap said, but yeah, basically you said she was fat shamed. So he obviously said something completely out of order to her, Brett. And what makes someone want to do that? I mean, how low? It actually says as much about that person as it does about the person that they're actually criticizing. It's like, how low is his ego to make him think he's going to make himself feel better just by putting someone else down like that? I mean, it's just the lowest form. It's just totally pointless and so destructive. And you say she's no idea how she got herself back for more. It'd be really interesting to know actually whether she did actually motivate herself to go back for more, and the strength that would have taken. Good for her. Good and good for you, Brett. That is so fantastic that you actually stood up for her. Yeah, and that's what I love about our tribe. We've got women who support each other, because sometimes it's not easy trying to improve your health and fitness, trying to lose weight, and there's low moments involved, and sometimes you're kind of on the brink of giving up, and just the very fact that you stood up for her, Brett, could have been pivotal in her having the strength to actually go back. But why on earth should she have had to do that? Why on earth should she have had to deal with that sort of harassment at the gym? And this is interesting as well, because this was Canada, right? This was Toronto, so it's clearly not just a GB disease, so to speak. It's clearly something that's universal worldwide, which is even worse. We're going to need a hashtag for this, I think. Just catching up on the other people. Joe Horton is watching. Hi, Joe. Great that you're tuning in. Lovely to have you on it. Caroline Redmond. Hi, Caroline. Lovely to have you with us. Ali's watching. Hi, Ali. And Tracy's watching. Gosh, I'm so stoked that we got all this interaction, guys. So we're basically talking about why women hate going to the gym. It's deliberately provocative. We're really just talking about what experiences, good, bad and ugly, that you've had in attending gyms in the past. Because, we've got to get more women exercising. So we've got to work out why they aren't. And, other than finding alternative environments, such as our, the JB Fitness and Wellbeing Studio in which to work out, not everyone has access to that, right? For all sorts of reasons, not least of which geography. We're not a national outfit. So, we need to understand why, what's putting women off exercising generally, and call out inappropriate behaviour in gyms, guys. So, what is your experience of working out in gyms, guys? What experiences have you had, positive and negative? We've had lots of people share those already, and many thanks to Brett, to Joyce, to Amanda, also to Katie and Bonnie and Liz, for sharing your really honest accounts of some of the stuff, some of the crap, frankly, that's happened to you in the gym environment. And we're basically just I mean, I'm not sure how long we've been on this Facebook Live for now, and I never expected it to be this long, guys. I'll probably wrap it up relatively quickly now. But you know, I guess this was inspired originally just by, and the reason I'm still a sweaty mess, guys, is that this Facebook Live was quite spontaneous reaction to an incident of patronising mansplaining that I've just experienced in the gym following a class that I just attended in a leisure centre gym locally, which just kind of reminded me of why we exist as an entity. You know, our women's only JB Fitness and Wellbeing. It's basically because lots of women just hate going to the gym, just for all sorts of reasons, many of which we've discussed already, and you know, many of you have given your experiences, and yeah, so Ali's adding her comments. Let me just see if I can expand that up. There's no pull to the gym, had membership for decades but minimal use. There's a heart of a community within the JB world. Yeah, so lack of community, I guess. Yeah, and that's an interesting word as well, because if there had been a community, a proper community at the gyms that some of you, for example, that Katie was at when she's been brave enough to actually tell us about an experience she had when she was audibly laughed at when she was on the treadmill because you know, she wasn't able to maintain her pace or whatever for longer than the middle. And you know, not only was that person a cretin for doing that, the fact that no one else, there was clearly absolutely no sense of community in that gym, because had there been, number one, those around her, the person that said that, would have immediately called her out. Number two, people would have completely gathered around to support her. And most importantly, the staff would have completely addressed that situation straight away and stamped out that sort of behaviour. It's all about culture at the end of the day, isn't it? So yeah, the community and the fact, basically just sharing common values. Yeah, that's what it's all about, really. And yeah, so you've hit the nail on the head there, Ali. It's like if you know, if there was a sense of shared common values and principles at these gyms, then they would stamp out the inappropriate behaviour that puts so many women off, wouldn't they? So many thanks for that input. Now we've got a man. We've got a man on our Facebook Live. My nephew, Connor. Lovely to have you tuning in. Now, this would actually be good if you were able to offer your tuppence worth, Connor. So, as a man, have you witnessed any inappropriate behaviour in the gym? It would be interesting to actually know the extent to which men are aware of this, actually, because it's quite possible that other men, good, decent men that would never actually display the sort of behaviour that we're talking about, it's quite possible that they don't even realise, don't even notice how women are treated in a gym. But maybe you do. So Connor, if you've got any thoughts on that, it would actually be really interesting to hear your perspective. Oh, Brett saying, lovely to have this coffee break, just distraction, rant live anytime. Well, I mean, hopefully I won't have to rant as often in future, but who knows, Brett? But yeah, we will see. Claire Austin is watching. Lovely to have you with us, Claire. Please do share any experiences you've had in a gym environment that have put you off, which is the topic of our conversation this afternoon. Brett's also saying she feels that women have been made to feel not just unwelcome at gyms, but as if they were trespassing on men's territory. And that seems to be, as you said, universal, or at least throughout the Western world. Yeah, that's another way of putting it, which is good. Trespassing on men's territory. Yeah, so do you identify with that comment of Brett's? Yeah, it's certainly something that I've experienced in the past. and particularly in the weight sections of the gym, it's like either explicitly or non-explicitly, it's as if it's a man's area. I'm just working back through the comments now, guys. Like I said, we're probably going to wrap this up fairly shortly. It was just meant to be a quick little rant and call out of some inappropriate behaviour I just experienced earlier today. But I've been really, really, well, it's kind of, I've got mixed feelings actually about what you guys, about the result of this Facebook Live, because it's fantastic that everyone's got an opinion and has you know, offered their views. But at the same time, it's a pretty sorry state of affairs, isn't it? That people should have had such negative experiences, and that it's clearly not getting any better. It could even be getting worse, despite there being more gyms than ever. The actual quality of the experience in those could be getting even worse. And it's clearly not even limited to this country. It's clearly international, as Brett has alluded to. So I'll just give you maybe a minute or so longer, ladies, if anyone else has got any other input that they wish to add to the discussion. If otherwise, I think it's certainly highlighted that this is a major issue, guys, and one worth maybe touching upon again in the future, maybe through another Facebook Live, or possibly just in a blog, for example. And so yeah, we will do that. And if anyone's watching this after the live was concluded, then and didn't get the opportunity to share any experiences they have had in the past, then please do add those after the event, guys. I'd be very interested to hear your opinions. So I'll just wrap this up now, guys. So many thanks to all of those of you who contributed. Really just cool to have the JB tribe just getting together and talking to each other at 2:30 on a Tuesday afternoon. I know we'll see many of you at our classes later on, so I'll be at our Royal Wootton Bassett studio for our upper body strength and our yin yoga class. Some of you may be with Jules in Lydiard Millicent for MetaFit and for Pilates. But for now, ladies, just you know, sincere thanks once again to those of you who contributed, and we will see you all very soon. Take care.